In March 2021, the world suddenly learned the name of a ship ever given. It wasn't a famous cruise liner or warship, but a massive container ship, now wedged sideways in the Suez Canal. For 6 days, this single vessel blocked one of the world's most vital trade routes. Suddenly, everyone was watching satellite images, following updates, and sharing memes about a stuck ship. Why did we care? Because the Ever Given was a symbol of how interconnected and fragile our world is. The clothes we wear, the phones we use, the food we eat, most of it travels by sea. When the Ever Given got stuck, it was like a major highway closing, halting global trade. The story was simple: a giant ship in the wrong place, causing a massive problem for everyone. We watched tiny bulldozers and tugboats try to free a ship longer than the Eiffel Tower is tall. It was a battle of human ingenuity against nature and the scale of modern engineering. For those 6 days, the Ever Given became a lesson in humility, a reminder that even our most advanced systems can be stopped by something as simple as a gust of wind. The event pulled back the curtain on the hidden world of maritime trade. Most people never think about how products reach store shelves until the system breaks. The blockage forced a global conversation about supply chains and our dependence on these steel giants. For 1 week, the invisible became visible. The Ever Given reminded us that our world is connected not just by the internet, but by the ancient, powerful currents of the sea. Most of what you own has been on a ship. The screen you're watching, the chair you sit in, the mug on your desk, chances are they all crossed an ocean in a metal box. Shipping is the invisible engine of our global economy, moving 90% of world trade. Raw materials, finished products, food, electronics, all travel by sea because it's the cheapest way to move goods. The heart of this system is the shipping container, a standard-sized steel box that revolutionized trade in the 1950s. Containers made shipping faster, cheaper, and more reliable, allowing factories to be anywhere in the world. We rarely see these ships, but their impact is everywhere, from fresh fruit in winter to affordable t-shirts. The system works so well, it's almost invisible until something goes wrong. The Ever Given incident was a shock because it stopped this hidden engine, forcing us to notice the complex, delicate machinery that keeps our world running. For a moment, everyone realized how much we depend on ships and the people who run them. When the system stopped, the world noticed. The Ever Given made the invisible visible, and it made us ask, what happens if the engine stalls again? For centuries, ships between Europe and Asia had to sail around Africa, a long, dangerous journey. In 1869, the Suez Canal changed everything, a 120-mile shortcut through Egypt, connecting the Mediterranean to the Red Sea. Suddenly, the world got smaller. The canal became a strategic choke point for global trade. About 12% of all global trade passes through this narrow channel: oil, gas, consumer goods, and more. For shipping companies, the canal saves time and money, making global trade possible on a massive scale. Navigating the canal is tricky. The channel is narrow, and ships keep getting bigger. Suez Canal pilots board each vessel to guide it through, and ships travel in tightly managed convoys. Any disruption has immediate, far-reaching consequences. A closure creates a massive backlog and forces ships to take the long, costly route around Africa. The canal is a thin blue line on the map, but its importance can't be overstated. It's the artery of global trade. When it's blocked, the world feels it. The Ever Given showed just how vulnerable this shortcut is. One ship, one mistake, and the whole system grinds to a halt. The Suez Canal is a marvel and a single point of failure. On March 23, 2021, the Ever Given entered the Suez Canal as part of a northbound convoy. A sandstorm swept through, bringing strong winds, dangerous for a ship with towering stacks of containers. A gust, over 40 miles per hour, pushed the vessel off course. The crew and 2 Egyptian pilots tried to regain control, but the wind and narrow channel made it nearly impossible. The bow swung into the eastern bank. A countersteer sent the stern into the western bank. In minutes, the Ever Given was wedged diagonally, blocking the entire canal. Engines and rudder were useless. A 400-meter, 220,000-ton ship was stuck fast. Satellite images revealed the scale, a perfect barrier, trapping convoys on both sides. The world's supply chain was now at the mercy of a single, immovable ship. Initial reports blamed the wind, but questions about speed and other factors soon followed. In that moment, the cause mattered less than the reality. Global trade was at a standstill. The great shortcut had become a dead end. The world watched, waiting for a solution. The Ever Given is an ultra-large container vessel, one of the biggest ships ever built. At 400 meters long and nearly 60 meters wide, it carried over 18,000 shipping containers. Inside electronics, furniture, clothing, machine parts, even live animals. The cargo's value? Around $1 billion. Operating this giant falls to a crew of just 25, mostly Indian nationals, unsung heroes of global trade. When the ship got stuck, they were trapped too, facing immense pressure and global scrutiny. The ship's sheer size made freeing it incredibly difficult. Designed to move forward across oceans, it was never meant to be twisted sideways in a narrow canal. Its greatest strength, size, became its greatest weakness. The Ever Given was a floating city, now stranded and helpless. As the Ever Given blocked the canal, a global traffic jam began. Ships behind it stopped. Soon, hundreds were waiting at both ends. Over $10 billion in goods were delayed each day. Oil, food, medical supplies, and more. Factories halted production, supermarkets faced empty shelves, and shipping costs soared. Some ships waited, others rerouted around Africa, adding weeks and huge costs. Even after the canal reopened, ports faced chaos as delayed ships arrived all at once. The ripple effects hit businesses and consumers worldwide. The incident exposed the fragility of just-in-time manufacturing and global supply chains. One ship stuck in one canal caused shortages, price spikes, and logistical nightmares everywhere. The world learned how tightly everything is connected. The Ever Given's jam was a wake-up call for global trade. Freeing the Ever Given was a monumental challenge. Tiny excavators and powerful dredgers worked day and night to dig out the bow. Tugboats, small but mighty, gathered to push and pull the 220,000-ton giant. The plan combined tug power with a high tide to lift the ship. The operation was led by international salvage experts, working with precision to avoid damaging the hull. It was a high-stakes engineering puzzle, watched by the world. After 6 days, a spring tide and a dozen tugboats finally freed the stern, then the bow. Horns blared in celebration. The giant was floating again. The images of the ship moving at last became a symbol of triumph. The little tugs, with help from the moon, had done the impossible. When the Ever Given was refloated, relief swept the globe. The ship was escorted to the Great Bitter Lake for inspection, while hundreds of waiting ships finally moved through the canal. But for the Ever Given and its crew, the ordeal wasn't over. The Suez Canal Authority detained the ship, demanding nearly $1 billion in compensation. The crew was stuck in legal limbo for over 3 months, unable to leave or continue their journey. Businesses across Europe waited for their goods, filing insurance claims and dealing with massive disruption. After months of negotiations, a settlement was reached, and the Ever Given was finally allowed to leave Egypt. When it arrived in Rotterdam, its cargo was months late, and its story had become legend. The ordeal was over, but the questions it raised lingered. The Ever Given's saga was a reminder: the aftermath of a crisis can last long after the headlines fade. The Ever Given's saga was a wake-up call about the fragility of global supply chains. Our efficient system depends on a few critical choke points, like the Suez Canal. One accident can cause massive, cascading consequences worldwide. The incident raised questions about the safety of megaships and whether our infrastructure can keep up. It also highlighted the human side, the crew, stuck for months, and the millions of seafarers who keep the world supplied. The story reminded us that this invisible industry is run by real people, facing real risks. Despite all our technology, we're still vulnerable to nature. A gust of wind can halt the world. The changes may be subtle: more inventory, better training, or wider canals. But the memory of the ship that stopped the world will linger. The smooth flow of global trade is something we can never take for granted.